What if I told you? Your grandson still hears your voice, just not the way you think. He doesn't call. He barely looks up from his phone. You sit by the window, same time every day, waiting. Birthdays come and go, silence. But here's the twist. He's watching that old video of you fixing the porch over and over. He listens when you're not speaking to him directly. Not in real time, but through memories trapped in pixels. And maybe, just maybe, the reason he doesn't visit isn't hate. It's discomfort. A quiet fear of old age. Of being reminded what time does to us. This isn't just one man's story. It's a truth many are afraid to say out loud. The question is, when did we stop mattering? Hit like, subscribe, and let's go. Once upon a time, family dinners were loud. Laughter bounced off kitchen walls. Grandparents were the heart of the home, storytellers, advice givers, the keepers of family memory. Fast forward to now, and it's quiet. Too quiet. We live in a world moving faster than ever. Notifications never stop, screens glow in every room, and conversations have shrunk to emojis. The average teenager spends over 7 hours a day on their phone, and that doesn't include school time. Technology promised connection, but somewhere along the way, we forgot how to connect with those sitting right in front of us. Today, many older adults live alone. Some haven't heard their grandchild's voice in months. Not because there's no love, but because the rhythm of life has changed. For younger generations, time feels scarce, attention is fragmented, and emotional discomfort is something to be scrolled past, not faced. Aging, once seen as a source of wisdom, now feels invisible. Media rarely shows it. Apps are designed for youth. Society, without meaning to, has created a silent divide between those who built the world and those speeding through it. But this isn't just a story about loneliness. It's a story about being slowly, unintentionally, erased. And it's happening quietly in living rooms, in unanswered calls, in conversations that never start. We're not asking, why don't they listen the right way? Maybe the real question is, when did we stop believing older voices matter? When did comfort replace connection? In the next part, we'll meet a man who gave his life to his family, only to find himself waiting by a phone that never rings. His story might be yours too. His name is Walter. He's 76, a retired electrician, built his own house with his hands, raised 2 kids, played catch in the yard, fixed every broken thing, never missed a school recital. He wasn't perfect, but he was present. When his first grandson was born, Walter cried, not just from joy, but from pride. He bought a tiny blue hat, held that fragile life in his arms, and whispered, "I'll always be here for you." And for years, he was. Saturday mornings meant pancakes at Grandpa's. He showed the boy how to use a screwdriver, how to read a map, how to listen with both ears. But then, life got louder. The boy grew up. Phones replaced tools. GPS replaced maps. "I'll come by next weekend" became "sorry, too busy." At first, Walter blamed himself. Maybe he talked too much. Maybe he was boring now. Then came the silence. The kind that rings in your ears. He'd watch the clock, rehearse conversations in his head, and wait. Days passed. Then weeks. No knock. No call. No message. He started wondering, when did this all begin? When did connection become awkward? Was it the first time he asked a question and got a distracted "yeah"? Or the first time he said, "I love you," and got a thumbs up emoji in return? Walter isn't just one man. He's millions. Millions who gave everything, only to be left out of the world they helped build. And the scariest part? This isn't just loneliness. It's the slow decay of legacy, of meaning, of presence. If this is the path we're on, what does that mean for your final chapter? What happens when the world moves so fast that even love gets left behind? Walter isn't the only one waiting. In the US, over 27% of adults aged 60 and older live alone. And while alone doesn't always mean lonely, studies show that 1 in 3 older adults experiences serious loneliness, the kind that increases the risk of heart disease, dementia, even early death. Loneliness isn't just a feeling. It's a public health crisis. The Surgeon General of the United States has even called it an epidemic. And yet, it's invisible. There are no headlines, no protests, just quiet dinners for one, and birthdays celebrated in silence. Younger generations often say, "We're just busy." And it's true they are. Between work, debt, notifications, the pressure to hustle, life is exhausting. But what we don't talk about is what's being lost in that speed. Relationships aren't like apps. You can't reopen them after months and expect them to function. Time moves differently for those at the end of their story. Every missed call feels bigger. Every silence echoes louder. Walter once stood tall, climbed ladders, repaired power lines in storms. Now he struggles to remember if he already took his pills. He scrolls through old photos, pausing on one where his grandson, just 5, sits on his shoulders, laughing. That boy is now 22, lives 20 minutes away, and hasn't visited in 8 months. Walter keeps a chair by the door, just in case. A fresh bottle of root beer in the fridge, his grandson's favorite. It's still there, unopened, expiring. And this is the part we never post online. The slow, painful truth that love can fade, not because it dies, but because it's ignored. So, how close are you to becoming just another unread message? Here's something Walter never knew, and you probably don't either. Studies show that younger generations aren't ignoring their elders out of cruelty, but out of discomfort. Neuroscientists have discovered something called mortality salience, the awareness of our own death. And here's the twist. When young people spend time with the elderly, especially those in visible decline, their brain triggers a subtle stress response. It's subconscious, but powerful. They're not avoiding you. They're avoiding the reminder that they too will one day age. In other words, seeing you reminds them of their future, and that scares them. It's not about love. It's about fear. One study published in Psychological Science even found that when young adults were asked to imagine themselves old, they were less likely to feel empathy for older people in real life. Sounds cold? Maybe. But it's biology. Evolution. A defense mechanism wired deep inside us. Add to that the culture of youth worship, where algorithms boost young, filtered faces, and older voices are silenced with every scroll. Our society doesn't teach us how to sit with discomfort, to face decline, to respect slowness. Instead, we swipe past it. We pretend aging doesn't exist until it happens to us. So what happens when an entire generation grows up never learning how to talk to someone like Walter? We lose more than just family bonds. We lose wisdom, history, and a sense of who we are. And perhaps the real question isn't, why don't they visit? But who taught them that they didn't have to? So now, ask yourself, when was the last time you reached out, not out of duty, but out of love? In recent years, scientists and technologists have begun paying serious attention to the crisis of aging and isolation. The results are both fascinating and unsettling. Studies from institutions like Harvard and Stanford have confirmed that social isolation in the elderly is as damaging as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let that sink in. Being ignored emotionally, socially, literally shortens life. In response, a wave of new technologies has emerged. There are AI-powered companions like EliQ, designed to talk with seniors, remind them to take medication, and even ask how they're feeling. Japan has robot pets for the elderly that simulate affection. Some retirement homes now offer virtual reality headsets, so residents can walk through Paris or stand on a beach they haven't visited in 40 years. These innovations are impressive, but they raise a haunting question. Are we using machines to replace what should come from human hearts? When a robot tells someone good morning, it may keep them alive longer, but will it ever replace a hug from a grandchild? Meanwhile, platforms like TikTok have created communities where older voices finally find an audience, not in their living rooms, but online. Some grandparents go viral for simply sharing advice, baking cookies, or telling stories. It's beautiful, but also tragic, because often they're heard more by strangers than by their own families. Technology, it seems, can connect us or become a bandage over a deep societal wound. The data is clear: connection saves lives, but only real connection. And in this race toward innovation, we must ask, are we building smarter machines or forgetting how to be human? So before the next upgrade, maybe ask yourself, whose voice have you muted without even noticing? Some say it's just the way of things. Generations drift apart. That every era has its gap. That our grandparents once felt the same about their children. But this time, it feels different. This time, it's not just distance, it's disconnection. Some psychologists argue that today's youth aren't less caring, just overwhelmed, drowning in debt, anxiety, and the constant noise of a digital world. They aren't avoiding grandpa, they're surviving. But others believe something deeper has shifted. That in chasing progress, We've traded roots for speed and attention for convenience. We raised a generation to believe they must always be moving forward, chasing goals, optimizing, performing. So naturally, anything that reminds them to slow down, to reflect, to feel, becomes uncomfortable. And aging? It's the ultimate slowdown, a mirror they don't want to look into. Still, there's another theory, a darker one, that we've quietly allowed aging to become disposable. Out of sight, out of mind. We've medicalized it, institutionalized it, outsourced it. Retirement homes instead of family rooms. Text messages instead of visits. Celebration of youth and quiet burial of wisdom. And here's the twist. The more we fear aging, the more we push the aged away. It's not hatred, it's denial. A collective refusal to admit where we're all heading. But what's the cost of that denial? A generation that gave everything, left to feel like a burden. A legacy erased before it's even passed on. This is the price of forgetting. And the tension now is clear. Do we keep pretending nothing's wrong? Or do we finally face the truth we've all been avoiding? Because sooner or later, you become the one no one visits. What happens when a society forgets its elders? We lose more than stories. We lose memory itself. Cultures that once passed down knowledge by voice, by ritual, by presence, now outsource wisdom to algorithms. Search engines have replaced grandparents. Google knows everything, except how it felt to hold a child for the first time. AI can finish your sentence, but not understand the tremble in your voice when you speak of loss. The practical consequence? A planet moving faster than its own humanity. Young minds, untethered from their roots, repeat mistakes already paid for. Ethical collapse, emotional numbness, fractured identities. We see rising depression, disconnection, generational blame. And those who could help, who want to help, are sitting in silence, waiting to be asked. Just like Walter. Meanwhile, governments pour billions into longevity research, dreaming of living longer, stronger lives, while millions of aging citizens feel invisible. Isn't that a contradiction? We chase immortality, while abandoning the ones living closest to the end. And yes, there are movements trying to fix it. Intergenerational housing, grandparent matching apps, university courses that pair students with seniors. Small sparks of reconnection, but they are rare and often too late. Because here's the truth. Once a voice goes unheard long enough, it forgets how to speak. And when we silence a generation, we silence part of ourselves. The real danger? Not loneliness, not aging, but losing the bridge between who we were and who we could still become. So, after all this, what's your role in the story? To scroll past? Or to finally call home? Walter still sits by the window, but now, he no longer rehearses what he'll say when the door finally opens. He stopped setting the root beer out. The cushions on the guest chair remain undented. Time has taught him a hard truth, that love left unattended can fade, even if it never meant to. But this isn't just about one man. This is about all of us. We're standing at a crossroads. On one side, speed, efficiency, endless progress. A world where attention spans shrink and silence is something to escape. On the other side, connection, memory, continuity. A world where elders are not forgotten, but honored, not for what they used to be, but for what they still are. We have to choose. Keep evolving blindly, or pause long enough to look back, to listen. Because in that listening, something powerful happens. We remember who we are. We slow down. We reconnect. Technology isn't the villain. Distraction is. Forgetfulness is. The real danger isn't that our children don't care. It's that we've stopped showing them how. What if the legacy we leave isn't wealth or invention, but the skill to sit across from someone like Walter and stay? To ask, tell me again how you met Grandma, and mean it. Because if we fail to teach that, then we've lost something far bigger than time. We've lost our place in the human story. So, will we evolve into something better? Or will we rush forward, leaving behind the hands that first held us? The decision is still ours. Remember that video? The one Walter's grandson kept watching late at night. The grainy footage of an old man hammering nails on a porch, laughing, wiping sweat from his brow. Turns out, that video had only 10 views. 9 were from Walter himself. 1 was from the boy. Just 1. But it was real. Sometimes love doesn't look like we expect. It's not always a phone call, or a visit, or even words. Sometimes, it's a quiet view on a forgotten video. A paused screen. A missed, "I love you" said in silence. And yet, is that enough? Can love survive without presence? Can we call it care if it never arrives? Walter will never know what his grandson felt watching that video. But maybe you do. Maybe you have a voicemail you haven't deleted. A birthday card you keep in a drawer. Or maybe you're the one who stopped visiting. And if that's true, you're not alone. We all carry stories we didn't finish, calls we never made, words we held back. But what if this story, Walter's story, is a warning? A soft one. A final whisper. Before it's too late, reach out. Because the window he looks through today, one day, could be yours. And here's the question no one wants to hear. If you vanished tomorrow, who would notice? And more importantly, who wouldn't? Tell me in the comments, when was the last time you really sat with someone older than you and listened? No distractions, no scrolling, just silence and story. Hit like if this made you pause. Subscribe if you don't want to forget. And if you're still here, maybe it's time to call home.